Hi guys, and welcome back. It's your girl Yummy.com. Thank you for joining me, my internet friends. Today we are going to talk about fashion. Okay, that's enough of that. I recently watched, I started Emily in Paris because they told me that it had good fashion and it did not. So I stopped, and it was also strange. I didn't like it at all.
Miserable darling, as usual, perfectly wretched.
But it did lead me to a YouTuber that I will be covering later.
Hello, my doves. Today we're going to be talking about something sad, tragic almost. I watched this new Netflix show called Emily in Paris. Maybe you've heard of it. And it was an absolute waste of my time.
She is phenomenal. She makes great fashion content, and it kind of opened up a whole new world of YouTube to me, like fashion content based YouTube. So I've been starting to watch all of her videos and Hot Mode and all of that. It's so great. It's like a world I've never understood. And also like Mia also like is really into fashion. One of my favorite YouTubers is really into fashion.
I got a lot of issues. And that's why we're talking about Vogue today. I'm just a bit picky when it comes to fashion. Like, it probably doesn't look like it because sometimes I dress like I play with glue and then the toxic fumes have just created a lapse in my judgment. I have way too much knowledge on archival shit, the greats and the new generation of designers. And also I'm pretty up to date with current trends. So I feel like I'm gonna be able to explain what was going through people's minds when constructing a fit because I got a lot of thoughts.
And I never really like understood where she was coming from because I was just like, oh, that's fashion people stuff. But then I started to like really get into it, and then I started to also really get into like, you know, Violet Chachki's like reviewing the fashion shows and stuff.
It's ugly as f. I mean, it's really hideous.
Do you realize that all of her fans are gonna? Her fans are notorious. I mean,
I said I like that one song.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. You don't need to get defensive.
But I'm just critical of everyone.
I know you are. This sucks. Yeah, we're gonna give it.
I mean, it's a big boot. This is like,
it's a boot.
This is a fucking boot.
It's just spiraled out of control. But I thought, how can I integrate fashion, a world I know nothing about, but I'm slowly peeling back the layers of, especially in time for the new House of Gucci movie that I am going to see because Adam Driver runs my soul. I was thinking, how do I combine that world I know so little about and the world I know most about, which is television? And I thought, you know what? Whose closets would I like to steal from? Whose wardrobe would I like to raid? Whose wardrobe department would I like to raid? And that is how I've come up with this list of my top 5 wardrobes that I would like to steal. Now, of course, I can't do any of this without my handy dandy notebook. There are so many closets and so many shows that obviously are iconic. And for this, I am going to be leaving out the arguably most iconic fashion show that has ever hit the world. The 2, actually, I'm going to be leaving them out. These are, well, leaving them out, maybe not necessarily leaving them out. I'm going to be stating them here off the bat, off the top. I think that these 2 shows have the most iconic fashion of our time periods, obviously, and they're most known for their iconic looks, and that is Sex and the City and Gossip Girl. For me, those 2 shows were so about fashion that they were almost their own characters. The characters were just so developed, obviously, and amazing, but their fashion was even more forward than the characters sometimes. And they always told a story, which we love. However, I do not want to put those on that list because I don't think that it would be fair to the rest of them on the list because obviously those are so iconically known for their fashion.
Patience, patience, patience. I ain't got time. Just going through the motions. You tell me what I wanna hear, but never what you're feeling. Keep me in the dark, but I've had enough. I don't want forever. I just want eventually.
So with that being said, we're going to get those two out of the way. Yes, Sex and the City and Gossip Girl are iconic looks, but we are going to move past that and go to the next one. Now the next one, or the first one some may say, is the show Pose. The show Pose has always been iconic and forefront, and the fact that it's all about the ballroom culture of the 1980s makes it just so much more visible and viable. The looks were always stunning. Not just the looks within the ballroom, the ball looks, but like the looks when they're outside of the ball. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched the scene where they all go to the store to get an outfit for their beach trip, and then they're just driving down listening to Donna Summers. All of them look so beautiful and elegant.
Everybody here tonight was boogie. Let me tell you, you are no exception to the rule.
This is music.
Get on up on the floor, 'cause we're gonna boogie, oogie, oogie till you just can't boogie no more. Boogie.
And even the very first episode of the show, it came swinging out the bat with them stealing from the Met Gallery.
Mother, what do we take? Everything.
And just like dressing up in the royalty garbs of them all, like just royalty to the max, and looking stunning while being arrested. Okay, that set the show off ablaze. And yes, while there are so many other things that to think about on the show, the depth of character and color, the speaking on issues that have been refused to be spoken on, and just the great reads and writing, because Miss Electra Abundance reads these girls for filth.
Backyard with a pony in it, a boyfriend named Jake, and an unwanted pregnancy that your father paid to terminate so you could go to college and major in being a basic bitch. None of these things make you a woman.
Clear your throat.
Lubricate.
Now read that bitch.
Your uniform of ill-fitting J. Crew culottes, fake pearls, and 50-cent scrunchies cannot conceal the fact that you do not know who you are. House of ferocity, you two are about as fierce as my morning cornflakes. You may have left my home, but you can't leave me. Girl, I'm going to eat you like an after-dinner Rolade.
And it's just beautiful. So obviously the writing, the storytelling, the unraveling of everything is amazing, but the clothes are just so authentically 80s, strong pieces in themselves, and especially in those ballroom looks, they are just phenomenal.
The fairest of them all, Miss Snow White. And she is not eating the poison apple. She's making you eat them. Really? Is it Red Sonja? Preparing for a boy. Bing beauty with a goddamn mattress attached to her back. This is how a bitch gets her beauty sleep, honey. Ah, she has arrived. The evil queen is revealed. I know my pump is high enough to be in the competition. Can't help revenge, man.
And I think that sometimes, because everything else is so amazing as well, we sleep on the clothes a little bit with Pose.
What I love about Angel is that you can see so much of what she's going through in what she wears. So much of her experiences are interconnected with her fashion choices.
It was a statement. It was a moment.
Brian really wanted her to feel over the top, dripping in diamonds, furs. So it was a fun challenge to try to make her look even more over the top, and I think we achieved it. This is Electra. It's Beyonce. 1, 2, 3.
Groove is in the heart.
The next one is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is, again, another show that, again, the writing is amazing.
We had a little tiff earlier this week about our son. Our 5-year-old just got into collegiate, and it costs so much we have to sell him for parts to get the tuition. All comics are comics because something in their lives went horribly wrong. Something went to shit. Either their hairline, Eugene, or their personal lives, me and Stan. It's so hard to raise kids when you're married. It's really hard to raise kids when you're divorced. But it's not that hard to raise them when their dad's a great guy. But Joel, there's no fucking way our kids are going to school in Queens. I'll burn this fucking place to the ground. Have a great time, everybody!
The characters are amazing. It's funny, it's witty, it's fresh, it's amazing. That sometimes we forget how amazing the fashion actually is. All of Mrs. Maisel's looks are iconic, especially just everything. Everyone is dressed to the nines, and it's like so with it and with the times. But the thing is that she always wears a simple black dress on stage when she's performing, but you just see the variety in color and how she evolutionizes that just idea of a simple black dress. It is elevated to so many different levels, and it also reflects when her performances are going good, when her performances are going bad, when she feels like she's in the low, when she feels like she's in the high. Everyone is dressed to the nines, but especially her character is always dressed for the occasion. And they started off because, again, another scene where it's like very iconic.
Love this man. And yes, there is shrimp in the egg rolls.
Rabbi, she's kidding.
It's her in that wet nightgown where she goes to the bar for the first time to deliver her monologue. It kind of showcases this unraveling in her outfit, even though she's like still stunning in a nightgown, but she's just unraveled and drunk. And it's just, it's the fierceness and ferocity that comes with her outfits. It's as fierce as when she is performing, which her performances are always hilarious, but because they're so hilarious, I think we forget some of the looks that she'd be pulling. Okay, our next one is a Chinese drama that I recently got into called Love Scenery. Love Scenery, it's a show about a singer who she like meets this like this gamer, and she kind of like wants to like branch out into this rock and roll phase. And I immediately, again, I think I'm taken in by like the first scenes, the first looks in the first scenes. And one of the first scenes is her in this beautiful black dress. Accepting an award, of course, and it is stunning. It's stunning, and it immediately catches my attention because if you watch a lot of Chinese dramas, you know that they are trying to make their girls look as pure as possible. Snow White, untouched and unplowed by the plethora of men. With that, it tends to lean towards more white colored garments. Like, they are always in white and baggy garments. They're never in anything tight, really, and never in anything like darker colored, because that doesn't connote the ideas of purity and innocence. However, she is an older woman who is with a younger man, so they have thrown that out the window. First of all, I love that they've done that concept. They've also thrown the need for that out the window. She actually is ironically dressed in black for most of the time. There are a few times where she wears white, but she's really like black as her color, really, in most of the times, and I love it. I love how beautiful it is. I love how elegant and elevated she makes everything. All of her stage performance outfits are amazing. Roll the clip.
Let's just play pretend. Let's pretend like we don't know more than our first names. Feels like forever, as if this world couldn't
And on top of that, because they are also playing a video game and they're in this video game world, they have these different scenarios that have these different outfits. Her red dress, it just reminds me again, it brings me any kind of big tulle red dress takes me back to that Blair Oscar de la Renta red dress of my dreams, and it just reminds me of that. And then she has like her like sciencey look. And then her, you know, combat look. Like, it's just so cool. And then another thing that I really love, other than just her, is him. Because a lot of the thing is that in Chinese dramas, they don't focus a lot of their ideas on the fashion of the men unless they're like men from an idol group or something, and even then they still don't focus on it too much. But his fashion is so elevated but consistent. It has that plaid, the plaid monolith that goes throughout, that he always like keeps in his repertoire, but it also is still somehow on her level, but like still chill and still elevated, and I really love it. Obviously, again, the performance outfits were my favorite, especially she's this white caged outfit that she wears when she sings. The music is honestly super amazing too, because a lot of the times in like C-dramas I don't really like the music, but the music was super amazing. But also the fashion was on point and on par. The next one is a K-drama, Korean drama, and it is obviously Hotel de Luna. Yes, there are a lot of great looks in Korean dramas, do not get me wrong, but sometimes in Korean dramas they either are a little too boring or they push the envelope a little too far. I'm like, oh, that's fashion. That's not fashion, that's fashion. I don't know what that is. Hotel de Luna did this perfect mid-lane perfection of it all. It was still elevated, elegant. All of her looks, IU looked stunning and everything. All of her looks were amazing, beautiful. All of his suits were tailored and they looked great next to her. You could tell that he was supposed to be complimentary to her, not just in life but in fashion, and it was beautiful. And all of her looks were stunning. She rocked sunglasses, big hats, heels. It was perfection. Even her accessories were turned into weapons, which were so strong and amazing and built color and depth for her character. On top of that, like, you get to see her in different time periods, so there are different time period looks and she looks stunning in all of them. And then the one thing that it does that I've not seen a lot of Korean dramas do, because I mean, well on them, I mean, good on them, because, you know, they're focused on that, but like, it paid an homage to one of the most iconic fashion looks ever, which is Breakfast at Tiffany's. Audrey Hepburn's black Breakfast at Tiffany's look. She paid homage to that in the most beautiful way. She was blinged out on the hands. It was amazing. That was one of my favorite looks. The one where she's laying on the beach in that big hat is one of my favorite looks. She just looks great and elegant and everything. And it's not necessarily that need to make her look sweet and innocent. It's like she's a powerful creature, so you need to make her look as powerful as possible. And she looked powerful and elegant in everything. And I really did love that about her and her character. Now, the last closet, before we close the book, that I would like to steal from, that I would like to raid their wardrobe department. We're taking it back to the 90s. We're taking it back to my childhood and one of my fashion icons from my childhood, and that is Miss Fran Fine herself, the Nanny. Oh my god, like I don't even know where to start on her looks. They're iconic in every way. She made the mini dress everything to me. I am a thicker girl, I'm a bigger girl, and I never felt like I would be beautiful in that kind of a silhouette, but I have recently started to rewatch The Nanny and have been like, Miss Fran Fine gives me
all of the energy that I'm the baddest bitch in the room constantly.
And you know what? If she says that I can do it, I can do it. Mina Lee, who I was talking about before, made this iconic video that I would be linking down below about Fran Fine's fashion specifically. But she's right. She's just right. It's so iconic. It's so beautiful. It's so timeless. It's distinctly her. And again, if we're going off of those first episodes and driving a point home in that first episode where she's in that red dress, sis, like, first of all, the looks that she was pulling alone were amazing, but then that red dress just made her a showstopper and reminded all of us that this show right here may be about this rich upper family, this Broadway director, producer, whatever, but it is called The Nanny. It is about the nanny. You will respect the nanny, okay? Because look at the looks she is turning on a dime. She was ready, prepared, head to toe, beautiful, big hair, boisterous body, giving look after look, checkered, cheetah, whatever you wanted, she would give and deliver in spades. And
I tried to dress conservatively. Niles, can you picture Miss Babcock in this dress?
I would like to raid that wardrobe department and want to pick the brain that is whoever dressed that woman every week, okay? And thank them vehemently. That is the last one I will be talking about today. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Yemi.com. Let's talk about more fashion in the future. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. So stay tuned, my internet friends.